Richard Jones, Ripper expert, in my opinion, the number one. Really honoured.
Too kind.
Yeah, really honoured to be with you today, and we're at Elizabeth Stride Street. It's not called that, is it? So tell me what happened there. What's the history?
Well, this is Henrique Street, but it was Berner Street, and this is where the third what we think was the third Jack the Ripper murder, that of Elizabeth Stride, took place on the 30th of September 1888. And in fact, this is Commercial Road out here, so this is a really busy thoroughfare today, as it was in 1888, going down to the London docks. But what we do know is that about 12:45, a man named Israel Schwartz was walking down here, and he actually saw, in a gateway down here, he saw Elizabeth Stride standing in a gateway. And suddenly a man who was slightly ahead of him suddenly walked up to her and tried to pull her out of the gateway into the street. And she resisted, so the man threw her to the ground and began to attack her. Israel Schwartz thought it was a domestic argument. He didn't want to get involved, so he crossed the road to avoid them. And as he did so, there was a man standing on the other side of the road, and he was smoking a pipe. And somebody, he didn't know who said it, but somebody shouted out, "Lipski." And the man smoking the pipe then began to follow Israel Schwartz. And Schwartz headed all the way down Berner Street and managed to lose that man.
Right.
And
but Lipski was a derogatory mark, wasn't it?
Derogatory term. The year before, one street along from here,
Batty Street,
there'd actually been... There we go. That actually, we have to be careful here. There's children's playground. So it was Batty Street, one to down. Miriam Angel had been murdered by the lodger Israel Lipski, and Lipski had become a derogatory term towards the Jewish population or the immigrants of the area. So I say we don't know who shouted that out, but the probability is that Israel Schwartz is the only person who saw one of Jack the Ripper's murders actually taking place, because 15 minutes later her body was found in that same gateway, and for two such murders to take place in the same spot in less than 50 minutes, it's too much of a coincidence. So it's highly likely Israel Schwartz did see a Ripper murder, therefore may well have been one of the few people who saw Jack the Ripper.
And was he a fellow Jew as well, who basically, because he said, didn't he, he picked him out, but he said, I can't identify him because I don't want his death on my conscience, is that right?
We don't know.
There's a story behind it though, isn't
the
there?
story is that's Anderson's account, that the person wouldn't, also it's Swanson's account of Anderson's memoir, lighter side of my official eye, that their suspect was identified by a witness, and the witness wouldn't testify because he didn't want it on his mind. His testimony being the result of the execution of one of his own kind. So, as I say, but we don't know because we haven't got those facts. But we do know that he may well have seen the face of Jack the Ripper. And again, it brings us back to what Major Henry Smith, the Assistant Acting City of London Police Commissioner at the time, said. He said in his memoirs, the problem was the Ripper had all the luck. And again, had he acted differently, had other people acted differently, chances are Jack the Ripper would have been caught.
But people say luck, but you can't have that much luck 5 times, can you?
You can't. In theory you can't, but it seems that he did. And that's always presuming that all 5 murders were by one person as well. So we can't. The thing I always say about Jack the Ripper is the only certainty about Jack the Ripper is nothing is certain.